um, today's topic is a question that asked me, how do you get like a big vertical leap? Now, if you've like looked it up on YouTube, mo mostly no one has ever done just a sampler on their vertical leap. Now, people like Anis, people get like people are amazed when they see like his vertical leap is so high. Well, that's because Anis knows how to properly manipulate his center of gravity. Now, everybody has a center of gravity. It's usually between your upper abdominals and your lower abdominals, or in just your abdominal section. So, with that being said, a good experiment to figure out where your center of gravity is to just have your whole body against a wall and have a chair right in front of you, and try to pick up the chair all the way without falling over. Your back can come off the wall, but anything from your hips down has to stay completely against the wall. So, since no one's done like just the vertical sampler on just their vertical, I'm just gonna do one. I did some research, and this thing came up called center of gravity. Now, if you like take like a basic flip, like just say like a back tuck. Now, what will happen is, to most people who are just starting out, they'll jump, and then as soon as they leave the ground, they'll start the rotation, because what they're scared of, they may not know it, but what they're scared of is that they're thinking that if they wait until they get to the peak of their height, they'll just, and then flip, they'll just end up hitting their necks or something like that. That's probably what they're thinking. Now, so the result of that is just them whipping backwards and then not landing it. They might land it, but most of the time you won't. So, now people like Anis, like if you watch, like, I think it's Anis round off back tuck, type that in, and it'll show him getting an amazing amount of height. But what he does is that, if you know, watch the second replay of him, and if you notice that when he goes for the back tuck after the round off, he'll like wait until he's at the peak of his height, and then he'll start the rotation. Now, if you notice that, if you stop at like the second before he flips, he's like kind of in a sitting position in a chair. Now, and from his lower abdominals up to his head, it's kind of like he's kind of like leaning back a little bit. Now, if you do that, that's what keeps him in that same exact spot until he's done with the flip. Because once you rotate over your center of gravity, which is your core, which is usually your abdominals, you'll stop going up. Now, since his core was at his head level, that allowed him to stay in this same exact spot until he was done with the flip. Let's see. Now, to break it down further, if you, like, let's say with a standard just back tuck, you'll go for a round off. In order to get the height that he has, there's this thing called blocking, which I'll make another tutorial. It's basically how to do it is you're gonna let's just start with a front tuck. Basically, you're gonna take your hop step, just take a little skip, and then once you land, you're gonna have your arms up, and you're going to have your feet slightly at an angle in front of the rest of your body. Now, this will transfer upward all your forwards momentum into upwards momentum. So this way. Now, if you don't believe me, I'll try to prove it to you. So, if you're going, say this is the person this person right here is gonna do the front tuck. This is just the ground or whatever. So he's coming to do the front tuck. Now, since he has all that forwards momentum, he needs to hit something at an angle to transfer that forwards momentum into upwards momentum. Now see, this is at an angle. This is the ground. He punches the ground. Since this is at an angle, he's not just gonna punch into the ground and then just continue to go upwards at an angle. Since it's at an angle, he's just gonna punch into the ground, and it's gonna rebound back to him, and then it's just gonna shoot him straight up. Now, in order to do that with a back tuck, in order to do that from a round off back tuck, you'd have to, if you watch Anis, when he does, watch the video that I was saying again about Anis's round off back tuck, is watch in slow-mo where his feet are when he lands the round off. His feet is slightly in front of his body, even though he's going backwards. Now, it may seem that if he's gonna do a back tuck, wouldn't his feet have to be behind the rest of his body? But no, because like if you try to do a round off back tuck on a hill, on a very steep hill, and once you do the round off, since it's a very steep hill, where you put your hands in when you land your feet after the round off, your feet are automatically going to end up behind the rest of your body. And when you try to jump, you're going to jump forwards into the hill. So therefore, if you want to go completely up on the hill, you'd have to land your feet slightly in front of your body. To break it down again, about your center of gravity, take a random front tuck. Say you aren't landing your front tucks well. Anything that's any type of flip or spin that you're not doing it from a standing position, you can use blocking and your center of gravity. Now, take a random front tuck and just and apply the center of gravity rule to it. Now, what you have to do, if you aren't landing it, you have to, let's see, you have to punch the ground at an angle. First you have to block, right? Then once you get into the air, kind of like dive roll, but if you notice, like in a dive roll, you'll hit a certain peak. Now, this is what Anis does. When you're at that peak in like the dive roll sort of jump, you're gonna want to tuck. And since you're at that peak, and it's kind of like a dive roll, since you're going like that, here's your core, here's your head, okay? See, your core is right about here, almost inches away from your head. So that's a good thing. So since your core is so high, that'll add height, like Anis's, and then you'll have way more time to do the flip, and then you won't have to land, and then you won't have to worry about like whipping the full rotation. So I guess that's it. I hope that helped. Bye.